What's up, guys? Craig Jones here, #1 pound for pound grappler in the world. It's obviously a great accomplishment for me to finally hit the #1 ranking. We've been #2 for a good 5 years now, so obviously winning this match, becoming #1 grappler in the world, is an incredible personal accomplishment for me. You might be asking, how have things changed since becoming #1? Well, I'll tell you what, later today, my hair and beard are getting bleached. But for me, that's not enough. I've also booked in an appointment to get my asshole bleached because that's the type of champion I am. Some people might argue that I'm the #1 grappler in the world. They'll be like, EBI rules. We don't like EBI rules. EBI rules determine whether you are a top or a bottom. Are you being ridden longer than you're able to ride your opponent? In this match, I rode Felipe Pena the full 3 minutes. He only rode me for 2 minutes and 15. That decisively places me as a top because, again, I spent more time on top. I believe EBI rules are a more decisive way to prove who is the best in the world than any other rule set, ADCC, IBJJF, or even NAGA, which is obviously the pinnacle of tournaments in the sport today. Let's talk about the event. Going into the Felipe Pena match, I ended up pulling up pretty sick. You probably heard my voice before the event. Some people were speculating. They were like, whoa, Craig, you already partying before your match? No, I caught the flu. I always get sick around a match. Don't know what it is. Probably overtraining, probably stress, but I never come in 100%. However, given that I was sick, I still decided to compete because, again, I'm facing the #1 grappler in the world. Who would pull out due to an illness or anything when you have an opportunity to face the world's #1 grappler, Felipe Pena? I keep emphasizing he's #1 because he has 2.5 victories to Gordon Ryan's 1 victory. He beat Gordon via submission once, he beat Gordon via points once, and he scared the shit out of Gordon and just locked him down in a bathroom for a good 24 hours before he was out gallivanting around, enjoying himself at dinner and comedy shows. So 2.5 to Gordon's 1. I was able to take Felipe Pena out in EBI overtime. That puts me 1-0 against him. Again, if you guys complain about the match, he came in 225, 230. I was probably realistically only 205 pounds. He had a massive size advantage on me, so I had to play the game. You know, sometimes we just have to play the rules, and I thought my path to victory was EBI overtime. I thought maybe I'd be able to leg lock him early, but he's heavy on top, and in the pursuit of that, I might have got tired. Probably would have got tired like I did against Marigali. Spam the leg locks, gas myself out. But the real star of the show here is Nicky Rod. Nicky Rod takes out the most stacked EBI rules event in history. No one has ever won an event with EBI rules this stacked. To beat Roberto Jimenez, to beat Wagner Hosha. Who else did we have in the tournament? Haisam Rita. We also had Gabriel Arges, 2-time GI world champion. This event was stacked. And again, I don't think anyone in EBI history has ever won an event with this many big names in there. I went back and looked at the list of EBI competitors that were in some of the events I was involved in, some of the events Gordon won, and yeah, pales in comparison to the people in this event. I really want to talk about his match with Big Dan. Apparently, Big Dan is a junior competitor despite being 300 pounds. Let's all call it what it is. If your coach calls you a junior, he doesn't want to take ownership over you for your losses. It's a way to protect his brand. It's a way to protect the other elite level competitors' brands. Here at B Team, everyone's a part of B Team. Everyone's on equal footing. No one's going to beat a B Team guy and going to be like, oh, that guy's a fucking junior, and absolutely disrespect my training partners like that. In all teams, we're not going to have people as good as the elite level guys. That's the reality of it. Some people train their whole life. They're never going to make an elite level status. But really, if you train full time, if you've won things like ADCC trials, if you're a 300-pound man out of Transylvania and your coach calls you a junior, it might be time to have some self-respect and find a coach that treats you like a human being. So yeah, Nicky Rod takes on Big Dan in the final. Big Dan, incredibly talented guy. And what's rare about Big Dan is he's a big heavyweight and he's a finisher. He grapples like a smaller opponent and he hits vicious finishes, sometimes a bit too vicious, breaking people's legs all the time. So I was quite nervous going into this match because, again, you don't want someone with 50, 60 pound weight advantage on you, that hates you, that's from a team that hates you, that gets to start in a submission position when it goes to overtime. That's a scary prospect. It's a scary prospect for anyone except Nicky Rod. So during regulation, Nicky Rod passed his guard 3 times, starts to melt him, right? We go to overtime, he gets put in 2 arm bars. One, he escapes like nothing. The second one, Big Dan gets it to full extension and holds it locked for a bit. Nicky Rod hits a move that's basically a reverse hitchhiker. I think it's one of the best ways to escape a fully extended armbar. It's something I worked on extensively with Volkanovski for when he faced Islam Makhachev, because Sambo guys, 2 to 3 submissions max. That's all they know in grappling. So he was able to use this reverse hitchhiker escape. And the problem with the reverse hitchhiker, it really looks like your arm's being broken, but the damage isn't anywhere near as bad as a failed regular hitchhiker escape. So a lot of people, go back and watch Fabricio Verdun versus Vinny Margulies. He uses a form of the reverse hitchhiker. Get your shoulder high off the ground, turn your thumb down, don't turn your thumb out, and he gets out of Big Dan's armbar and goes on to choke him with the same arm during his next regulation period. And we all lost our minds backstage. We were all super inspired by that performance. He follows it up. He calls out Santa Claus for his USADA tested match. I love the fact that he does this, right? Because Nicky Rod was able to pass basically a random drug test. He had no idea it was coming. Nicky Rod's just a freak. I want to say he's on steroids too, but the man just has much better genetics than anyone I've ever met. If you guys don't use steroids as a crutch, if someone's bigger, stronger, whatever, accept that it's a possibility that they might just have better genetics. And if you're going to be angry at anyone, be angry at your parents for passing on those shitty genetics. So Nicky Rod's argument is Gordon Ryan is only who he is because of steroids, and he only beats Nicky Rod because of steroids. Gordon says that's not the case. All right, then, there's an easy way to prove that. Take a USADA tested match against Nicky Rod. You can't use steroids for the match. That means it's technique versus technique. That means both of you can't use steroids. And if you're able to beat him in USADA tested regulations, then that proves that the reason you're beating Nicky Rod is because of technique. So I really hope that happens. I think if they really did do it, be massive media attention for this one. It would be great for the sport. I think it would blow up the sport more than anything anyone's ever done in the sport. And I know all the fans are behind it. So I'm really, really pumped for that. I got a meeting with Fight Pass tomorrow, so I'm going to really just try to plug it. But we know Gordon's not going to take that match. I mean, I personally don't think Gordon's who he is because of steroids. He's a technical beast. But at the same time, put your money where your mouth is. Take on Nicky Rod in that rule set, and let's see what happens. What's up for me next? I'm probably going to keep working for Fight Pass. They put on a phenomenal show. There are a few mix-ups at the start where the first tournament thing had 2-minute overtimes instead of 1-minute overtimes. There was a flying scissor Kani Basami takedown that almost destroyed Haisam Reedus' leg. That's meant to be a banned technique. Me, I'm going to ride off into the sunset, do what I do best, try to take on washed up UFC fighters, get the victory by any means necessary, not have another Sean Brady moment. I'm out here in Vegas. Obviously, this is day 4 of a bender. Hopefully get some sleep soon. But coaching Volkanovski this weekend against Yair Rodriguez, super pumped. We've been working a lot of technical jiu-jitsu stuff because Yair is more of a jiu-jitsu guy than your standard MMA guy. So it's more in my wheelhouse to work out how he plays guard and does all those things. But guys, it feels great to be the #1 grappler in the world.